to The Big Picture. I'm Tina Jha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday held a meeting with the chief ministers of states and union territories amid rising cases of coronavirus in some states. The Prime Minister said India needs to take quick and decisive steps soon to stop an emerging second peak of COVID-19 infections, expressing concern over the sudden increase in new cases in 70 districts. The Prime Minister said there has been a 150% increase in these districts in the number of new cases. The positivity rate in some states like Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh has suddenly increased. The Prime Minister also noted that the fight against COVID-19 has given the country some confidence so far, but he cautioned that it should not turn into overconfidence or laxity. He also underlined the need for both vaccination and strictness, asserting that India is winning the fight against COVID-19 because of the cooperative spirit, and this must continue. So on The Big Picture today, we will analyze the important messages from the Prime Minister's meeting with the chief ministers, what has led to the sudden surge in cases of coronavirus, particularly in some states, and what immediate steps need to be taken to stop the virus from taking hold of the country once again. Joining me on the program are Dr. K. Madan Gopal, he's Senior Consultant, Health, Niti Aayog, and Dr. Mohammad Ashil, he's Executive Director, Kerala Social Security Mission, and he's also a core team member in COVID control in the state. Thank you to both my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Dr. Ashil, let me begin the program today with you, because at the moment, the first and the foremost concern is the resurgence in the number of cases, and this was also raised by the Prime Minister in the meeting today. Tell us more about what the Prime Minister's concerns were as far as the rising number of cases in the country are concerned.
Yeah, Tina, one thing we need to understand about this pandemic is that pandemics have a pattern. It's not that something is new, it's happening in India as we need to be panic about that. The thing is that if you look at the Spanish flu pandemic, which occurred in last millennium, which is considered as the biggest pandemic in 1900s. So what is, if you see the pattern of the Spanish flu in 1918, it actually went in four phases. In the beginning of August of 1918, then the second wave came in around November, December of 1918, where around more than 2 crore people died in that period is attributed to the Indian subcontinent. I mean to say that around 2 crore people in the Indian subcontinent died during the second wave of Spanish flu in 1918. And then came the third wave in 1919 and the fourth wave in 1920. Why I say is that pandemics has a pattern of happening. So it happens in waves. And if you see the pandemic, the pattern of COVID-19 across the globe, you can clearly see that pattern very clearly emerging. If you take the European nations, it's very clear that have gone for the first wave. Then there is a period of 1 to 2, maybe maximum of 3 months of period where the cases have been down. Then it raises in the second wave. But what is good to have in Kerala, in India, is that if you look at the total picture of India, when we are going for the second wave, we already have a vaccine in our hand, which is good thing. So that's exactly why the Honorable Prime Minister today told that we need to be careful. We are actually winning a match. So when we are winning, we should not be actually getting overconfident in that. So what we need to do, we are going for a second wave. If you look at it is clearly indicating that in Maharashtra, at least in Maharashtra and few other states, we are going for a second wave. And we need not be it's not something which is unusual. It would happen. But the thing is that when we have vaccines in our hand and we are fast vaccinating, if you see the figures a day for us today, it's around 3 million vaccinations per day, which is a remarkably good pace we are going in. Earlier we were in a slow pace, but we have picked up the pace. So if we go by this pace, we will be achieving the target of around 30 crore people around August. So we will be vaccinating the more vulnerable people of the society, like we will be able to vaccinate the vulnerable people of the society. So we are actually winning the match. At this time, what we need to do? At this time, what we need to do is we must be extra careful, because we must go for vaccine immunity rather than getting into a natural infection. That's exactly why Honorable Prime Minister, in his meeting to the Chief Ministers, reiterated that we need to be cautious. We need to trace, quarantine, test, isolate, treat the new cases. We need to increase the number of testings. We need to actually go for a faster vaccination. That is something the states has to take. And
absolutely. So how we can ramp up, especially when it comes to vaccination, is something that I'll come to you, Doctor, in a moment. But let me also bring in Dr. Madan Gopal in the debate. Dr. Madan Gopal, 70 districts where there's been about 150% increase in new cases. And if we look at the data currently, 28,903 fresh cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. And this is a big cause of concern. So are we staring at a fresh wave of COVID-19 infections in the country? And if yes, how can we prevent this second outbreak?
Thank you, Tina. Exactly 1 year back, we started witnessing increase of the cases, which reached a peak during the second week of September. From that, we started having a decline, which declined till the mid of the second week, February. Since the last 2 weeks, we are seeing a rise of cases. And the cases, as you have mentioned, is a 43% rise over the last 14 days, 15 days. That rise is happening. And this rise is happening in the western parts and the northern part of the country. And that too, the previous epicenters which were there, more or less urban localized, now it is shifting to the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities. If you look at the districts, you have talked about the district that 70 districts are there. But if you look at the active cases surrounding these districts, and if you keep a watch on the active cases in the surrounding districts of these 70 districts, which are showing a surge of 140%, 200%. Some of the districts, they have registered 200% surge. If you look at the active cases surrounding these districts, then you will appreciate that why a concern is there, why we are staring at a second surge of the cases, unless we act now. Previously, the epidemic was more or less centered in the urban areas, tier 1 cities, good medical facilities. Now, it is progressing to tier 2, tier 3 cities, and if it goes to the villages, then our system, whether we will be able to find a solution to that, is a very, very difficult proposition to say at this moment. Right now, the active cases surrounding the 70 districts are also showing a surge in the numbers. The active cases are also increasing. Apart from that, the urban phenomena is also there in places there, and compounded by that, once the vaccine euphoria started, after the first jab, we become little complacent. That euphoria state that now we are having a tool to fight against the vaccine, fight against the virus. Now we are having the vaccine, so there is a lowering of guard. Compounded by, we started interacting, social gatherings started happening, the events started happening. As a result, we are now seeing surge in the cases. The basics of the epidemic, some of the states which are finding a surge of the cases, there are some issues which needs to be identified and addressed. As the Honorable Prime Minister has rightly pointed out, wherever the cases are rising, the testing is low. They are not doing adequate testing. They are not tracing the patient, and they are containing. That the basic strategy, the basics of epidemic management are missing. That there are some governance related issues in that area. If you look at the uptake of the vaccine in this district, the uptake is also more or less reflecting the similar
let me take that point to Dr. Ashil. About 84% of the new cases are just in 6 states of Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So if we talk about your state, it has reported about 1,970 cases in the last 24 hours. So if we talk about identifying, have we identified what is causing this sudden surge in cases? And, when it comes to overconfidence, laxity, has that been observed in the population?
Specifically with regard to Kerala, but we are actually in the declining phase of our first wave. Even though we were the first in Kerala, were the first state to report first case in India, that is in January 30th of 2020, we are the last state to peak. So obviously, when you look at when a graph goes like this, and some graph goes like this. So obviously what happens is that when you have the peak is delayed and you have a kind of a flattening of the curve, then you see a kind of cases would be, if you look at a particular point of time, if you look at in January, what you see is that Kerala had the highest number of active cases. Obviously it would be there because we have been able to delay the peak. So we are not really bothered about in the situation in the state because that's actually the declining phase. And moreover, we have been able to detect, if you look at the seroprevalence, that the seroprevalence in Kerala is just 11.6%, almost half of the national average. So, and 3 by 4th of, and it's 1 by 4th of Karnataka. So, but what happens is that, as you have rightly pointed out, how does this laxity come in? Like, how does second peak occur? When we say our second peak is happening, how does second peak occur? If you look at the global experience, how there is a pattern of how second peak occurs, as Madan sir has rightly pointed out. Our guard comes down. It's not unnatural that our guard comes down, because what happens is that when a pandemic extends to around 6 months, something would set in what is called as pandemic fatigue. So everyone gets fatigued of all these things. If you look at when in the initial period, when we call it the period of collective sacrifice, when everyone sacrificed their livelihood, everything for controlling the pandemic, this was the period when our health system had to strengthen up, and we have strengthened our health system so that we can actually cater to the increased need. But after a point of time, everyone gets fatigued, because what we need to do is a titration between livelihood and our health system capacity threshold. So we need to be very much careful when we are actually closing down the livelihood. If you look at even the nations like New Zealand, when they when they went for in the third lockdown, then the people actually came down and saying that we are not actually going to obey the rules. So such kind of things would happen. That's exactly why we need to unlock things. But when unlocking is happening, the people should not take it lightly, because whatever happens in the society, what happens is that when our personal guards come down, like our personal guards, like mask, hand washing, social distancing, these are things which a person can actually decide, or a family can actually decide. They can actually follow that rules. When that guard comes down, we cannot close down the entire cities. We cannot close down the entire livelihood of everyone. So, but the personal guard when comes down, then that is the time when the second wave occurs. And there is another epidemiological reason for that, because when the pandemic reaches to a particular proportion, for example, there is a committee appointed by the Government of India, which is called a super monitoring committee, which said that, as Sir has rightly pointed out, peaking happened in many parts of India in around before September itself. So what happens is that when peaking happened, it's around 30% of the population gets infected. Approximately, the peaking happens at when 30% of people gets infected. Then it comes down. But after a period of time, you get more susceptible. You get the guard of the people comes down. There is a pandemic fatigue setting in, and the system and the health systems of different states actually decrease their guard. Their priorities changes. That's when the second wave comes in. So second wave is something, not something which is unnatural. It happens, but when that happens, we need to increase our guard. As Sir rightly pointed out, we need to test more. We need to actually look for quarantining, increasing the tracing activities, the basic public health activities, the basic principles of epidemic control need to be set in place. But specifically coming to the state, we are actually less worried because we are in a declining phase, and we expect that we have what Kerala is expecting now is that after the first declining phase, there will be 1.5 months where we'll get the breathing space. And to our advantage, we have vaccines at hand at that time. So we will be able to prevent a second wave. Almost the same condition is in many parts of the state, many parts of India. We have not really gone for a real second wave. So what we need to do, increase our guard, at the same time, increase the pace of the vaccination. So we will be able to get a vaccine immunity rather than going for natural immunity.
Absolutely. Increasing the pace of the vaccination is something that we'll discuss in the course of the program. But Mr. Madan Gopal, I would like to take one question from you on the pandemic fatigue that Mr. Ashil pointed out. He's saying that, we may be in that phase, especially these states where there's a surge in the number of cases in the past few weeks. There could be a pattern of pandemic fatigue. Do you think that could also be one of the reasons?
No, it's not the pandemic fatigue now. 2-3 months down the line, I think this could be an issue, but now it's not an issue because once the state's cases started declining, they are all rejuvenated now. They are now actively participating in their routine activities. That fatigue is more or less gone. That's why there was some apprehension saying that the healthcare workers who are exposed, that's why they were the first category of the people to be vaccinated, so that they feel protected, their confidence is restored back, and they start working again. Because if the health worker will not work, then who will work? That's a question which we are asking ourselves. So that's why I don't see any fatigue, but there would be some episodes of that people will be some complacent. That you can't call complacency with fatigue, because that's a routine job which they have been doing for years and years, and they're still doing that same kind of activities.
And Mr. Madan Gopal, also, because the emerging fresh wave of infections is a huge cause of concern, and a need for quick and decisive steps has been spoken about. So apart from scaling up testing and contact tracing, what else can be done? What are the immediate measures that you would suggest?
Tina, if you recall what our Honorable Prime Minister has called, he has called for treatment management protocols also in the presentation. One of the things, when the pandemic started last year, there was no clarity on the treatment. And as the treatment evolved, as we get matured on the treatment protocols in this, maximum number of cases are being managed at home. We have to ensure that the home quarantine, people don't jump the home quarantine. You see the episodes which have happened in Vidarbha, the marriage season. The people who were quarantined, who were positive, they have attended marriage function and they have infected. Now you are facing that kind of thing. So we have to see that how this COVID appropriate behavior, that's one aspect of the communication thing. But if the person is positive, he is isolated. If he's under home isolation, we have to ensure that he doesn't jump the home isolation. That's one thing which has happened in the other cities, because most of the cases can be managed at home. Right now also 70 to 80% cases are managed at home. Even if the peak happens now we are well prepared because we can manage that aspect. Because as we mature, we know how to manage the cases. The treatment protocols are more or less standardized. What is to be done when the person comes to the hospital, what is to be done when the person is having oxygen desaturation, and when the person is to be taken for the high density care units and how to ventilate, that kind of protocols are not been set. Having said that, now as the cases are increasing, the people have to be more cautious, they have to be more responsible. Apart from that, the contact tracing and other things, the basic epidemic response will happen. But side by side, the people should come forward and say that the person is isolated, he should stay isolated. It should not be mixing. Like kuch nahi hota, that kind of attitude should not be there. And that kind of attitude has resulted in the second wave. I don't see that we have lowered the guard, vaccine euphoria, lowering of the guard, and mixing that chalta hai attitude. That kind has resulted in this kind of surge, which we are now staring. It's not that it has happened. We are staring at a surge.
Dr. Ashil, in the wake of the rising cases, what we're also seeing that some districts have, reimposed certain measures like night curfew, partial lockdown also in some cities, weekend lockdowns, etc. But looking at the past 1 year, how effective have these measures been in containing or suppressing the transmission of the virus?
Yeah, let me explain on what I think I misread on the word pandemic fatigue, because pandemic fatigue is not primarily with regard to the health system or the professionals. Pandemic fatigue, as we know, is primarily based on population. The population, the people gets demotivated for following COVID appropriate behavior. That's basically the term pandemic fatigue primarily means, because people get demotivated. They say, "Sir ne bola tha, chalta hai" attitude comes in. So
Okay.
that demotivation is primarily called that demotivation for following the COVID appropriate behavior. That is the thing which we primarily call as pandemic fatigue. And also the system also gets in a kind of that when too many cases happens, then that also becomes a routine kind of thing and a complacency sets in. So when you said about the interventions, if you look at the public health interventions that has been carried out in India, it's been excellent to state in a single word. Because if you look at the interventions, more or less what happened is that the focus would be on crowding happening in some places. The focus would be on people not putting the mask. Even the discussions or the focusing of that aberrations in the news media is also a kind of educating the people. Because primarily people know that this is something which is inappropriate. That's exactly why the media shows that see these things are happening and which is inappropriate at this time. So though much has been said about what the Indians has all the country has not done properly, we need to understand is we have done many things properly. The majority of the people in India has done many things properly. That's exactly why the cases we have been able to control. If you look at the population, the case per million and the death per million, many data, if you look at India, has been performing excellently well. And also looking at the data on how the epidemic progressed. If you see the pace of the waves happened, many European nations, what happens is that they had a very early peak and they went for second peak, and there are nations who are actually going for the third peak. So we have been able to, so when we say about the guard of the people, or when we say about people, the behavior of the people, much has been done, given the fact that we have a very diverse population where a single one day in this lockdown would actually put someone into a poverty. Such even at that moment, people sacrificed so that that collective sacrifice has contributed in saving thousands and tens of thousands of lives. So that is something we all Indians can be very proud of. But when, as Sir said, we are looking at staring at a second. When we are staring at a second wave, we need to rejuvenate ourselves. The system already got rejuvenated. As Sir said, system has already got rejuvenated. But when that system is getting rejuvenated, people should actually come back from that chalta hai attitude and this vaccine euphoria, as Sir mentioned, that vaccines are here. But just being the vaccines are there does not prevent you from getting infection. So that has to enter your body, and that should be given sufficient time so that it actually gives you the immunity. And even that vaccine immunity, when you say that it acts like a seat belt, it does not really when you wear a seat belt, that doesn't mean that you will not have accidents. It just means that you will not have severe injury and you will not have death, or the chance of death is decreasing. Similarly, when you vaccinate, it doesn't mean that you will not get COVID-19 at all. There is chance that you may get a COVID infection. Still, you may get a COVID infection. That too, though in a lower proportion or lower rate. But still, even if you get the infection, you will not have severe disease, or your chance of getting severe disease drastically decreased, and almost you will be prevented from having a death.
Okay. Dr. Ashil, since you spoke about vaccination, let me take one question from Dr. Madan Gopal on the need that is being felt across the country in the wake of the rising cases, and because we are staring at a possible fresh wave of infections, that the vaccination needs to be ramped up. Is that the solution? Could that help? And if yes, how can the vaccination procedure be ramped up in the country?
Tina, this is a very interesting thing. Once the vaccination starts, we think that all the solution lies in vaccination. No, vaccination is one of the tools, because previously we were not having that tool. It's one of the tools for managing this pandemic. That means the basics, the testing, tracing, treatment, isolation, quarantining, and then a vaccine. All the things will go together. It's not that vaccine aa gaya, so everything will happen. No. We have to ramp up the vaccine. As Mohammed has rightly pointed out, we have to develop a herd immunity based on the vaccine, not on the virus. We have to see that how both the things work together. So basics of things have to be factored, and basic response is required. Vaccination is a tool to aid that basic response. No doubt, wherever districts, we should be now having a targeted approach. The districts which are having the high transmission of disease, we have to target this disease and see that how the whole of the district is covered with this COVID vaccination. That kind of strategies, I think, in the coming days, we will be witnessing. We can be witnessing the increase in the age group. That means from 60 can come down. That kind of contemplation, that request can come, and we will be seeing mass vaccination in the coming days. As the availability increases, the vaccination will also increase. So that's all from my side.
Okay, Dr. Ashil, because today's meeting was also the Prime Minister's first with the Chief Ministers taking stock of the vaccination drive, and after it began on the 16th of January, what did the Prime Minister have to say on the vaccination drive, the need to ramp it up, and particularly because it comes in the wake of a resurgence in cases?
Yeah, one primary focus of the discussion was obviously on vaccination. So when we say of vaccination, we have been able to increase the pace of the vaccination on this month. This week, if you see, on Monday we had 30 lakh. That is 3 million vaccination done on a single day. If you look at if you project it for if you can go by that pace, then we will be able to cover our vulnerable population, which we call as 45 to 60 years with comorbidities and above 60 years, all the entire 60 years by June, July. So that is a pretty good space when we consider all the vulnerabilities and the heterogeneity of the population and the systems in India. That's a good thing to say that we will be able to cover the vulnerable population by June, July. But at the same time, as Madan sir said, we need to focus in places where there is a potential of getting a next wave kind of thing. So we need such flexibility. One as from a state, what we would like to have is a kind of flexibility where we can actually go for vaccination according to the state need. Because when we have, for example, in Kerala state, what we have done is that we have primarily focused on we are in the process of doing a kind of looking at old age homes. Not just people who are registering, the people who are in the old age homes, they will be targeted for vaccination. One, the destitutes will be targeted for vaccination. There are few people who need to be targeted. So that and if some focus occurs somewhere, a clustering occurs somewhere, we can actually target that area. Such kind of flexibility at local planning need to happen. That is something which is the COVID software is not giving. That has been discussed in the discussion with the Honorable Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, and the states has represented that. So that many flexibilities have already happened, and we see that we are as we are staring at a second wave. We need not be panicking. We are going in a good active, like we are in a right direction, but that direction need to be actually accelerated. And at the same time, the people should not be complacent. We have not actually came out of the pandemic. We are in the midst of a pandemic. And as I said, 1918, when the second wave occurred in Indian subcontinent of Spanish flu, we had the maximum deaths in the second wave in Spanish flu in 1918. So from history, we need to learn that second waves are not something very silly, but at the same time, we have much prepared than in the last millennium.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
So the crux of the debate today, the discussion we've had with our two panelists has been that strict containment, surveillance, testing, tracing, and of course awareness is required. At the same time, on the people's part, it is expected that they should continue to maintain COVID-appropriate behavior. There should be no overconfidence or any sort of panic among people. Our fight against COVID-19 pandemic has been very good. It has instilled confidence in the country, but we must continue with that because we are still in the midst of the pandemic. So with that, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to both my guests for joining me on the program and sharing their perspective with us on The Big Picture. Thank you very much for your time.